And with us here in the studio, Senator Orrin Hatch, Republican of Utah, who worked on many pieces of legislation with Senator Kennedy, and Michael Eric Dyson from Georgetown University, the historian, sociologist who's written extensively about, among other things, Barack Obama. Senator Hatch, let me just talk to you first. You told some wonderful stories. Somebody told me this story about you. They said that talking about how Senator Kennedy had a way of making people feel special. They said many of your colleagues used to encourage you and congratulate you on your hobby of songwriting. But they said Senator Kennedy would actually come to your office and listen to those songs, and he actually knew the words to some of them. He did have a way, did he not, of making people feel kind of special at the moment?
He did. He was a master politician and a very good friend. You know, we fought each other most of the time, knock down, drag out battles, but always afterwards we'd throw our arms around each other, and he'd always say, "How'd I do?" You know, and I'd laugh and I'd yell at him, you know. But he was a masterful politician.
How is it that he was able to find that sort of sweet spot in the legislation, as somebody said to me this week, that the other person, the person on the other side of the issue, could be for?
Even though he was very liberal, he would listen to, for instance, myself and realize that there were certain things he just couldn't do. Take the CHIP program. When we finally did it, it was a moderate to conservative bill. He came all the way across the center into even the conservative side. He was mad at first when I put that bill into the Balanced Budget Act of that year, the first balanced budget in over 40 years. He came down and started yelling at me, and then all of a sudden they started to laugh because I started to laugh at him, and he realized how important it was. And it turned out to be one of the most important bills. We did dozens and dozens of landmark pieces of legislation, and a lot of it was because he was able to acknowledge that he couldn't get everything he wanted through, but if he worked with us, he could get some things that were good, and of course I had to do the same.
Michael Eric Dyson, you wrote a lot about Barack Obama. You probably knew Obama better than you knew Ted Kennedy.
Yes.
But let me ask you this question. Do you think Barack Obama would have been elected had not Ted Kennedy endorsed him?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
I mean, obviously, he had a lot of momentum behind him. So I don't want to say that he couldn't have been elected without Ted Kennedy, but Ted Kennedy's endorsement made it a lot easier. Of course, Barack Obama had the wings of hope and the winds of possibility behind him, but Ted Kennedy was an awful powerful gust of wind that gave him a necessary lift. This was a man of American royalty bestowing upon Mr. Obama, if you will, the mantle of that kind of liberal leadership that Senator Hatch has talked about, and the courage to stick to your convictions, not to be uncompromising and unyielding, but to understand the difference between compromising for tactic and strategy and compromising the fundamental principle. And I think that his endorsement made America look seriously at this young man and those who were sitting on the fence to become much more committed to him, and those who were already encouraged by Mr. Obama's rise to go even further.
Yeah, there's no question that Senator Obama appreciated that,
right,
and understood what it meant. Did he ever say to you, or did those around him ever say to you, why they thought in the end that Senator Kennedy decided to endorse Obama? This was a major thing, and he was taking on a big part of the Democratic Party when he did.
It was. I mean, obviously, with Caroline and Kennedy's endorsement the day before in the New York Times, in the op-ed, and then Senator Kennedy the next day. But I think that Senator Kennedy identified in Barack Obama the same hopefulness that he had seen glowing in the face of his brother John and radiating from the heart of his brother Robert. I think that there was a kind of trilogy, if you will. Kennedy himself didn't make it to the presidency, though he ran. But I think that he saw in Barack Obama the passing of the baton. He saw something new, some kinetic spirit, some amazing charisma that was able to catalyze the ambition of millions of people. And when he spotted it, he knew the real thing. He knew that Barack Obama was the real deal. And so throwing his weight behind Obama was a way of continuing Ted Kennedy's legacy and also latching on to the legacy of an extraordinary phenomenon.
A very short time left. How will the Senate be different now that he is gone, Senator?
Well, there is no other Democrat who could carry the base of the Democratic Party and get them to do what really has to be done in a compromise situation. You see this in health care. The base doesn't want to give in on what's called the government plan. And that's a big part of it. Plus, they want mandates on employers or employees. Plus, they want to move more people into Medicaid so they can gradually get to a single-payer system. Kennedy would know that a number of those things can't be done in a bipartisan way, and this has to be done as 1/6 of the American economy.
All right, I want to thank both of you.